This is the Pro Wrestling Reflection Podcast with your host, the Professor Chalbello Veracruz.
What a run!
Mr. Wonderful Tommy Wonder.
And I will take the powers of those that have no fear!
And the prodigal one, JB.
The cream, yeah. The cream of the crop.
Now it's time to go back in time in the time machine.
The American dream! Dusty Rhodes! Too sweet!
The living legend, Bruno Sammartino.
Austin 316 says I just whipped your ass. To be the man, you gotta beat the man. Woo! Look at this. I don't believe it.
Reflectionites, what is going on there to the DeVitoites, the dispensary HAMINites, and the solitary confinement PWCites? All the ites all over the world, the Demites, the Republites, the Israelites, the Hamasites. You know who you are, the Magnificent Seven, the Elite Eight, the Naughty Nine, the Terrific 10. You know who you are. And you know what? Shout outs to a new Reflectionite. You know what? When you're on the Twitter, when you're on the Reflection Twitter, you just get, gems out of it. And we just discovered a brand new Reflectionite, and that is that Jezebel, Baby Doll. She has followed the Reflection. She has followed Big Ray Hernandez. She has followed the Professor. You know what? She takes jokes very well. And that was all it was. Last week's show, it was an homage to Baby Doll, the Perfect 10. We might have said some things, but of course, we were all liquored up. TW was more liquored up. He had more of the moonshine Professor, but neither here nor there. But it's all love to Baby Doll. It's all love to the Perfect 10 and all that stuff. And welcome to the newest Reflectionite, that Jezebel, Baby Doll. And with that being said, welcome to the PWR podcast here at the HAMIN Media Group at podbeam.com, and welcome to episode 190 Deuce. Donnie, day one, I'm still holding out hope that you're catching up right now, so this way you can make it to 200 live, but god damn it, you're on 2020 Thresh. You gotta pick up the speed, Donnie, day one. You gotta pick up and binge more. You're on the bicycles at Planet Fitness. Do your job and binge correctly so you can catch up to the 2020 sequel shows. But again, that's another story for another day. But it's episode 192, 8 episodes away from TW hosting episode 200. It will be his show. I got nothing to do with it. JB, maybe it will be JB's show too. It's JB and TW's show. I got nothing to do with it. I'm just going to be a special guest star. It's on them to make the show. They didn't. It's on them to make the show memorable. It's on them to make the show magnificent. It's on them to make the show glorious. With that being said, I'll introduce myself because I'm vain like that. I'm going to introduce myself so I can, get the grays out of my pubes, get the grays out of my head and all that stuff. I'm the effervescent one. I'm the studious one. And of course, I already said I'm the glorious one. The only objective man in this IWC, YWC, PWC punditry. The only objective man on this X platform. The only objective man in this political hemisphere. The Professor Cruz. Thank you very much for another ding right there. And I'm not here alone. No. I am here with my brother from another mother. The man who messes up my intros. The man who keeps looking down, looks to his left, looks to his right. Stop dinging, goddammit. He is doing all this stuff on the phones. He's trying to unbox everything so this way he messes up the Professor. But he will not deny the Professor. He is the Detroit Rock City Universal Heavyweight Champion of the World. Tommy Wonder, how you doing, my friend? And stop dinging. I'll take the reign.
I just
live as we're recording, found out my item came damaged, and I got a hold of Fanatics as soon as possible. But look, will you look at this shit? Smashed up corners like a cigarette.
Can't see it.
One of them half-assers smoking cigarettes while they're packing my shit, and they damaged it, burned it right here. It's crusty like your underwear, man. That ain't right.
Who is that? Put it high. I couldn't see.
It's the Island, whatever the fuck. Roman Reigns and looking like a fucking Easter chocolate bunny. And then, because you had to get free shipping, dog. I'm not giving up on these bums just yet.
Oh God,
this is soft too. This is nice. Springtime. Got me a little
Red Wings
shirt. I'm sure it's gonna accentuate my titties when I wear this, so I have to wear a t-shirt with it. This motherfucker sending me damaged shit.
That's what you get for the 8 Mile Amazon Facility Center, so that's on you.
It ain't Amazon. It's Fanatics.
Who cares? The warehouse is at 8 Mile. You get what you pay for. I'm saying. But anyway,
$15
I must
for a Funko Pop?
Say what?
I'm getting out of it. I'm getting out of it. Look at that. Jesus. Look at that. The hottest story in wrestling right there.
He went to hardcore.
I was there. I can't wait for his heel merchandise. I'm going to be all over it.
All right, but can I get on with the show, TW?
Yeah, we got special guests.
Well, yes. We have the diva of the PWR podcast. This man just, when he's 5 minutes away, he's 10 minutes late. When he's right there on time, he's 20 minutes late saying, I'm right there. But neither here nor there. He is the king of the HVACs of the South Florida Keys. He is your friend of mine, the prodigal one himself. JB, how you doing, my friend?
Professor, what's going on? TW, what's going on? What's going on, Reflectionites? The prodigal one has returned. I'm late on purpose so you can say the prodigal one has returned. It's fashionably late entrance. That's what
He's always doing the show from the toilet, too. That's what I don't understand. It's his comfort area.
You got to do two things at one time sometimes, and you got to be scheduled. You know what I mean?
For the show, I hear dings on the phone, and then I'm going to hear plops off the toilet. So it is what it is on the PWR podcast. But again, neither here nor there. And stop with the fucking thumbs up and stop with the rings, okay?
So are you saying you said plops and rings? So does PWR stand for plops, wrestling, and rings? Is that what it is?
That's it.
For today, but not ever, okay? But anyway, can I get on with the show, guys? When you two are together, I've got to have the referee shirt on. I've got to be even more of authoritarian. I got to be like Donald Trump. I got to be like Elon Musk. I got to bring in the reins. You guys are like Democrats who are like doing DEI programs right now. Anyway, let me do the show right now. Let me do the show. But it is episode 192, and we are doing a JB special because we are celebrating Reflectionites. One of the things that today's generation doesn't understand. They don't relate. They're going to look at us and say, you are old fogies. I don't know how the hell you could have lasted in this world the way you did with certain things. And we are going to celebrate VHS cassette tapes. We are going to celebrate what a lot of wrestling fans did first, tape trading. And one of the first things you was actually trading is WWF Coliseum home video tapes. Whether it was the events itself, like WrestleMania 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whether it was Hulkamania 1, Hulkamania 2, whether it was the Wrestling Classic, the list goes on and on and on. And Coliseum home video has a long legacy. I mean, for today's youngins, if you will, Reflectionites, they got the Peacock, they got Netflix, they can see it all right there on a menu. But for us old fogies like myself, TW and JB, who understands this, we had to have a cabinet. We had to put things in order. I don't know if we put it in order by years. I don't know if we put it in alphabetical order, but God damn it, we had a cassette library. For the professor, I'll say this. I did not have the Coliseum home video selections, if you will, guys. But what I did was, when I bought the pay-per-views, I recorded them on my VCR. I bought WrestleMania 3. I bought WrestleMania 4 and all that stuff. I bought SummerSlam. I had that shit. So my yearly legacy started with that shit. And And of course, you had the Saturday night's main events. You had the superstars of wrestling. So I had tapes saved there. But my mother said, "Fuck that. That's garbage right now." She threw away half that stuff that we build, that me and my brother built on, and all that stuff. So I understood what my mother was saying when it was like, but it was my hobby. It was my brother's hobby and all that stuff. So before we even get into SuperTape Volume 2 Reflectionites, again, I'm not gonna say I had the best Coliseum home video collection, but all of us can relate, guys. So I'm going to start with the product one, the man with the plan, the HVAC king of South Florida. JB, how is your Coliseum home video collection or your videotape collection per se?
Oh, man, just to start off, if anyone's watching this on YouTube, Professor has a copy of a Coliseum video. And as soon as I came on, just seeing that brought back so much nostalgia. And my Coliseum video, I had pretty much everything from WrestleMania 6 up until the end of right before WrestleMania 1994. So everything from WrestleMania 6 and 1993, we had pretty much all the big pay-per-views. Previous to that, though, like, this is just a nostalgia for me, and I'm sure a lot of you guys had the same story, but my mom used to take me and my brother to the video store. We used to go to McDonald's, and then we used to go to the video store, and she used to let us rent one video each. It was $1 back then. And, of course, we always went to the wrestling section. And it was always Coliseum video. And outside of the pay-per-views, you had your best of, and then you had like what you see, like what we're going to talk about today, super tape and things like that. But man, like what a time. And it was always like, I wonder what's going to be out when we go to there, what new things are going to come out, what have I not seen yet. It was like,
JB, JB, for a second, Reflectionites, I didn't mean to cut him off. But hold on to that thought. But yet, the mom and pop video stores, Reflectionites, the kids went to the wrestling. The kids went to the horror shows. Sometimes the mother was the blocker. The father went to the XXX side to get for the midnight shit for them, for the mother and the father stuff. He went to the adult side. But the kids, stayed with the wrestling. The kids stayed with the movies and the horror and all that stuff, JB. Go ahead. I just wanted to say that because, again, every kid can relate to that. Just go ahead.
For sure. That black curtain and where you're not allowed to go through. But, yeah, I know what you're talking about. But, no, man, I would go to the wrestling section. It was literally like Disneyland for me because it was just piles and piles of tapes. And, that's just my memory, man. I did actually see I saw all the super tapes. I think there's like 4 or 5 of them. But, yeah, good memories. And in terms of my collections, again, from 90, whatever WrestleMania 90 was, whatever year that was, or WrestleMania 6, to 1993. Everything after that I recorded because you live in New York, Professor, so you probably heard of the black box. I had the black box. So from Royal Rumble 94 on, I was watching all the pay-per-views and recording all of them.
Gotcha. TW, the floor is yours. What was your Coliseum home video recollections and memories?
Well, for one, I grew up in the hood. There was no owning them. I had to rent that shit, and I don't remember being no dollar either. It was maybe rent 2, get 1 free every now and again, and it was before Blockbuster, which Blockbuster had them too when they came around. But I remember going there, and so WrestleMania 1 I wasn't watching yet. So WrestleMania 2 I was bummed out that we didn't watch it or whatever. But then it came out on Coliseum, and it used to take months, man. Like if WrestleMania was in April, that WrestleMania 2 tape came out in July or some shit. And then it got to be a little bit quicker, like within a month they would be there. And I know why, because you could re-rent the pay-per-view for like another month, so they ain't going to try to sell it so that people won't buy it there. But to buy it, it was like $100 to buy it.
Actually, TW, I have to disagree a little bit because I think WrestleMania 1, 2, and 3 was still closed circuit. WrestleMania 4 was the first pay-per-view, quote unquote. So that what you're saying.
I'm not saying that's why then. I'm saying I understand the logic of not selling it right away because they want people to. And it's not even like they do half off. If you rent the pay-per-view live, it's $50. If you rent it 2 days later, it's $40. It's always 50. It's never like maybe towards the end they'll let you rent it for $10 before it became a video. But for me, like I'd go there and it was just like you didn't know what you were getting. And like top of my head picturing it, and I think they ended up releasing it on DVD because I have a shit ton on DVD. And I don't know if it was Coliseum home video anymore when it was DVD, but I have all the ones like the dedicated to Owen, dedicated to the Four Horsemen, dedicated to.
I think it got rebranded WWE Home Video afterwards.
Yeah,
I think 97 is when they made the change.
Yeah, so when me and Rico, when we got older, he went to this place called Skip's Video, and I want to say I saw it even before then. You would go to rent a WWF home video, and like I said, the one that pops in my head immediately is WWE's Most Unusual Matches, and it was Shawn versus Brett in a ladder match. And to this day, Brett still bitches that Razor and Shawn get all the credit, but it was Brett that brought the ladder to them for those Coliseum home video matches. But when me and Rico would go to Skip's Video, every now and again, you would see Starrcade there, or you'd see the Great American Bash, because NWA started doing it, and you would have I'd just sit there and go, whoa, I can rent this and this, and I'd rent two at a time. But one of my favorite memories was, and I don't think people do this anymore. Like, I know I don't do it anymore, but I remember, I believe it was WrestleMania 2, there was a waiting list because they only had so many copies, and we finally got it, and we were watching it, and you had to take it back in 48 hours or whatever it was. But if you kept it an extra day, they just charged you again for another rental. And I remember getting my stepdad to let us keep it an extra rental and watch it again. But now I watch it live. I don't ever go. The only time I'm watching wrestling that I've seen already before is preparing for this shit. Other than that, I don't watch it and go back and watch it again. But I did on those tapes.
Right. It's interesting because, again, the wrestling fan hardcore fandom, especially with the mom and pop video stores and before it became Blockbuster, that the chains, the franchise came and sucked up all the mom and pop stores, was you only saw two things. You saw NWA stuff, then you saw WWE stuff. In the 90s, then they kind of, maybe ECW was trying to catch up with the Joneses, but they didn't do it really that good and all that stuff. You got WCW, and then you got the little murky indie stuff. But for the hardcore fans,
Stranglemania. Stranglemania. I know you fuckers watch that in New York.
Stranglemania.
ICP bought all those Japanese death matches that had.
No, but it's funny you say about the Japanese. No, but it's funny you say about the Japanese because, again, we all have these friends in our circle of wrestling fandom because, again, the hardcore fans, the tape traders. We got to really talk about this, and we got to celebrate this before we get into Super Tape Volume 2, guys. Again, I'm a hardcore guy, but I'm not hardcore that I had to buy blank tapes and record like New Japan Pro Wrestling, All Japan Pro Wrestling, try to find like the territories in Las Vegas and Memphis and all that stuff. Those were serious tape traders. And again, that was the circle for a lot of wrestling fans. Again, if you didn't see like your favorite guy or gal in the New York territory or the Detroit territory, you had a friend that be like, I got you guys. Well, give me about a week. I get that tape for you. And then you enjoyed it. You had that kind of like friend in your wrestling fandom that really went balls to the wall. Like, you want something? You want Giant Baba matches? I got you. Just give me about a week or something like that. Let me get, and then you got a fucking All Japan like tree of tape with Giant Baba. So JB and TW, I'll start with JB. Do you have any wrestling friends that were that hardcore say, yo, I got you, man. I want you to watch NWA. I want you to watch Jerry Lawler of Memphis. And I know JB's the WWE homer just like TW, but JB, someone had to try to like, corrupt you and try to enjoy other organizations.
So I had a friend actually when I was in elementary school, and I don't know how he was watching New Japan. I have no idea how he was watching it. Or maybe tape trading, but I believe on the tape it was Survivor Series 90. Don't quote me on that though. But after that was done, there was these two guys wrestling. It was definitely New Japan, and I was like, "Whoa, these guys could go." I didn't know at the time though. It was Jushin Thunder Liger versus at that time they called him Pegasus Kid, which went on to be Chris Benoit. But I was like, "Holy shit, this is really wrestling." And I never asked him anything about it, but that's how I came across that. And then with WCW, my friends were talking about it all the time. And one time my mom went to the store. My mom, she followed wrestling a long time ago, like in the 80s, and she stopped. She's like, oh, I got you wrestling cards. And she gave me these wrestling cards. And I'm like, who the hell are these people? I've never seen any of these people before. Like the Steiner brothers. And I realized it was WCW. And at the time, Ric Flair was coming over. So I kind of like learned a little bit about the city. And if you guys remember, back in the day, at least once or twice a year, WCW would have a marathon. It would start at 8 o'clock on TBS, 8 p.m., and it would run until 8 p.m. the next day. It was a 24-hour marathon. They would show all kinds of different clips and shows, and I happened to see it one day, and I was like, oh, this is WCW. This is where Ric Flair's from. And then I started kind of watching it gradually. That's how I came across the two promotions.
All right, cool. TW, you had any one of those hardcore friends that be like, yo, I got you some Japan tapes you got to look at?
Well, it's funny you would say hardcore, and I'm not going to say his name because he is a current wrestler who may or may not have wrestled for a heavyweight championship last night. But
okay,
he had a guy that could get him any kind of porn that he'd like. He got this guy to make him a porn of Tracy Lords. If you know anything about Tracy Lords, she only made 2 movies after the age of 18. Everything else was 17 to 16. So he's on a tour in Winnipeg, which this is already getting weird because it's a tent full of people and it's winter and it's snow and they're sleeping in tents, but they're all, I'm picturing the set of MASH when he's telling me this.
By the way, why isn't Tracy Lords in the WWE Hall of Fame? Go ahead, Tito. I'm sorry.
Soon.
She was in the WWE for what?
WrestleMania.
I don't remember that.
So he takes this tape with all
you
the
didn't
boys.
see it, JB. Don't worry. The tape traders had that one.
They all gather around. He's like, I got my buddy to hook me up with this Tracy Lords compilation. He pops it in. The first 30 seconds is Tracy Lords, and then it immediately switches to the hardest core gay fucking porn ever. And all the boys just turn and look at him like, what the fuck? And he's embarrassed. He's popping it out of there. And it was just one giant rib. But I didn't actually hear about...
Wait, hold on, Tito. You mean they didn't cope with that tape that they saw?
Well, they coped with it for a long time. But we're
protecting ourselves, Reflectionites. We don't know anything. I'm just saying, y'all got to cope with this shit. But go ahead.
Yeah. I mean, you might need therapy. But take you on a death ride if you go too far with it. But anyways,
I don't know nothing.
I didn't hear about tape traders. I think I may have read like some of them, not necessarily the after mags, and I don't know if the Wrestler and whatever, the Wrestler, and there was one other one that I read all the time besides Pro Wrestling Illustrated. But there might have been people in the back that.
No, but TW, I'm sorry to cut you off, but there was levels to this of hardcore fandom.
Right, but I didn't even know about it, but I may have read like someone asking if you got tapes in the back.
Right, but it was the magazine traders first, the Inside Wrestling, the Wrestler, and Pro
Inside Wrestling and the Wrestler. Those were the other two.
Stuff, that was first, and then the tape traders.
But when I started wrestling, a bunch of the wrestlers would talk about these tapes, and it's a good thing. Like I just listened to Chris Van Fleet. Is that his name?
Yeah.
I listened. I'm not finished with it yet, but I listened to him and AJ Styles, and AJ hits it on the head, man. And MJF the other day when he was talking about the heel turn of Cena, Scooby-Doo 30 years ago, when I had my first wrestling match, 31 years ago, it was forbidden to watch wrestling. You're a wrestler. You're past that shit now. You're in the business. You don't watch that shit. You're not a fan.
You're not a mark.
But when you listen to MJF explain about John Cena, and if you listen to AJ Styles talk about tape traders, and he's looking at all this Japan stuff because he doesn't know. He goes, man, back when I started, he started about 4 years after me, I think 99, so 4 or 5 years after me. He said, man, he got a hold of everything he could because for me, what I finally did when I started watching some more wrestling was I realized if I don't watch it, then how do I know what I'm trying to be? How am I ever going to get there if I don't know what they're looking for? And then I watch it and I'm like, man, no one there's like me. And it got me depressed. And then I went, wait a minute. That's a good thing. That means I'm different. So they need me, something like that. And then I had kids and I just gave up on it. But if you didn't watch wrestling, how are you going to get better? So a lot of the wrestlers would tape trade so that they could see what Japan wanted. Edge and Christian used to always try to get me to make a tape to send to Winnipeg to get me booked in Winnipeg to come wrestle with them. They got Rhino there. The rest is history. Edge, Christian, and Rhino are synonymous with each other. Johnny Swinger went with them. And I could have went there, and I just didn't have the forethought to make a damn tape and give it to them to go, but it's my own fault. But tapes were not only as a fan, they were integral as a wrestler.
You just did not want to like re-record, record over the Tracy Lords tape you've been keeping for years. Okay.
Well, I asked my friend.
That
I asked him to let me have that as is. I wanted the gay porn stuff. I didn't care about the Tracy.
Yeah,
I figured that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that's when I first met Professor. He was in the first scene.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he was the bottom.
You know, me and Ron Jeremy get confused all the time. So you got Ron Jeremy. We already know where you
Well,
stand.
the deal is, if there's a girl in the scene, it's Ron Jeremy. If it's two dudes, it's you. We figured that out a long time ago.
It ain't me, man. It ain't me. But anyway, let's get into this. And you know what? We're going to put a little bit of curveball here because you know what? Somebody better been doing their homework. And that is the diva of the PWR. It's the diva. It's the HVAC king here of South Florida. JB, did you watch this SuperTape Volume 2? Or do you remember the SuperTape Volume 2?
No, I watched it. I remember some of it, and I watched it.
Thank goodness, because me and TW did not watch this because we just said this was our hazing of JB. He better watch it.
Watch it. What are you talking? I watched it. I fell asleep.
TW didn't watch it. He's lying to you, JB. But anyway, neither here nor there. But we were going to haze JB right now. He was going to watch this, and he's going to lead with the SuperTape Volume 2 and all that stuff. So this is what it's on you, JB. You're going to lead this. You're going to lead the SuperTape Volume 2.
No. You lead. I follow. This is your show. I'm the guest.
No. This is called hazing, man. You got to earn your stripes here.
I've been earned my stripes. Look at the earlier episodes.
No, that don't count anymore, man.
So JB, what he's saying is, this was your baby. He picked this for you because of your window of 84 to 85 being your peak wrestling favorite, and you love these tapes. So what about this one do you love the most? I did watch it, and I do have my own version of how I feel about it. But we want to hear what you think of it. Why do you like it so much?
I think
that is so diplomatic, TW. Thank you for saying that.
I think overall, from a nostalgic point of view, the tape is excellent. From a performance, it's horrendous. 99% of it is horrendous. I mean, we got some good nuggets. Martel versus Bret Hart. I don't think I've ever seen those two in a one-on-one match before, so that was pretty cool. Piper and Rude in the cage, that was pretty cool to watch. And then of course you'll anytime you got a Coliseum video, you have to have Hogan on it. That's the main event, of course.
Top of the fucking charts heel Hulk Hogan in this match. Everything about this, he's a heel from start to finish, and after winning with his finish, he then throws the referee out and then gay shames Lenny Popo. He's straight heel.
Couldn't believe it, but I'm sure we'll get to it. I don't know.
That's the one Professor didn't want me to watch. He told me, just go to the end, see the win. I'm like, this has had the most shit. I agree with you. I believe that on paper, this should be awesome. But what it is, and if people don't know this, TV, here's what it did for me. People could criticize how much promos are on Raw. Like, oh, fucking 3 hours in and there's fucking 4 matches. Whatever. Yeah, they could probably balance it out better. But this tape proved to me that without angles, without storylines, without any kind of reason for these matches to happen, it's almost boring, right?
It is,
and like you said, you got you got Brett versus the Model. On paper should be great, but what it ends up being is almost every match, the finishes are house show finishes. They're DQs, they're countouts, they're double countouts. Piper and Rude had a very good match, which I never even knew it happened. And Rude is lucky he died when he did, because he should have died here with the spot at the top of the cage. I was like, what the fuck? Like, why would you even do this? But he did it to his credit. But what I did like was the Rockers doing the promo in between. If that wasn't there, if Hercules didn't do his, Hakeem, if you didn't have those mixed in there, and it was just matches like that, they would have made 2 videos and it would have been done, because it would have been so boring. This is a lesson to be learned for all the AEW sickos. A pay-per-view just happened recently called AEW Revolution. You had 10 matches. You had a 5-hour pay-per-view. Ended at 2 a.m. Well, it finished at 12:05 Eastern time on my end, and I watched the whole thing. Well, I slept through about 2 matches. But again, neither here nor there. But 10 matches straight, and literally 30 seconds of, you try to breathe and process it, and then it went into the next thing. You had your vignettes, and you had your video promos and all that stuff. But again, what SuperTape offers, and we'll talk about this, and JB and TW will hop on it more. This is what it is. If you saw Primetime Wrestling on the USA Network before it became Monday Night Raw, this is legitimately what you see. Primetime Wrestling on VHS cassette tapes.
But again, instead of Gorilla Monsoon and Bobby the Brain Heenan, who are the hosts and the patriarchs of primetime wrestling, you got Sean Mooney. You probably would have Craig DeGeorge. You probably had Tony Schiavone when he was there from 89 to 90 doing those tape spot hosting gigs and all that stuff. So what it does, the monotony of these matches, Reflectionites, again, just like JB said, is it the fluidity? Is it good today as it was in 1989? Hell no. The athleticism is way better today than it is back then. But back then, what still beats today is the psychology. What beats it today is even the hokey countouts and the disqualifications meant something for the house shows, meant something for the superstars of wrestling, meant something for Wrestling Challenge. It accentuated dinky storylines to continue on free goddamn TV. And with SuperTape, you can focus on the match, and then you have these little promos, little vignettes, and all that stuff. You even had bloopers on SuperTape Volume 2, which I fast forward, I didn't really give a shit about. But again, you got to give something for Sean Mooney and all this stuff. So let's put a bow on this, guys, and just say, not only about SuperTape Volume 2, but what is the best, Coliseum home video that you ever saw or even owned? So I'll go with JB. Put a bow on that.
Best Coliseum video I ever saw. And I'm going to leave out pay-per-views only because I watched this shit like a million times, Hulkamania 4. Okay. I don't think I've seen any Coliseum video outside of pay-per-views so many times because I owned it.
That's good. TW, any Coliseum video you saw or that was the best or you owned?
There's two. And again, I don't remember them either, right? I just remember the covers. But I do remember... And the reason I thought they were so good is because I didn't know they existed. So when you're going to look for WrestleMania 2 and WrestleMania 3, well, I was at 3, but I still don't think I've ever watched WrestleMania 3, by the way. And
wow.
But I was there. But so the most unusual matches and just Shawn and Brett in the ladder match. And it's not a great match, right? Because it's a little ladder like you have in your kitchen to change the light bulbs. It's not the big giant.
It's like a 6-footer or something.
Yeah, it's a 6-foot ladder. But there was lumberjack matches. There was probably the fucking weasel suit matches on there. But it was cool just to see. It wasn't your average everyday superstars or whatever. But the other one, which was like, whoa, what is this? Was the big event with Hogan and Orndorff, and I think the Toronto Blue Jays baseball field or whatever. Mm-hmm. I was like, how do I not even know about this? It was like we did a show not too long ago, JB, me and Professor, where they kept continuing it in Boston. Like it was something that was only in Boston that they would do promos and come back. Like there was a whole, was it Razor or Hogan and Perfect?
No, it was Santana and Savage, that rivalry thing. Most of the stuff.
All the stuff you saw, it wasn't on TV. You didn't know any of it happened unless you were in Boston, watching that Boston Gardens TV network or going to the shows. And I told Professor, when they used to come to Joe Louis Arena, it was always, they came once a month and then started once every other month. And then it just became fucking, you're lucky if they come twice a year and it's SmackDown or Raw or pay-per-view. They set up the next show in Detroit, and I'm sure they did the same thing in Boston, the same thing. But it wasn't stuff you saw on TV, so it felt special because you felt like if you weren't there, you don't find out who won or who lost or whatever. But I want to say this real quick about the difference between primetime wrestling and this Coliseum. I always tell people, go to a house show. That the boys will tell you. Everyone loves the house shows better than the SmackDowns and the Raws because if you've been to SmackDown and Raw, which I think you both have, the fucking commercial breaks where the light just goes dark and the people are just sitting in the ring like assholes for 2 minutes and 2 seconds, and then it comes back on and they act like they've been doing the road. It's so awkward and weird. And then the time in between matches. When you go to a house show, as Razor's coming back and Lex is going out, they bump shoulders and fucking fight in the aisle, like stuff.
There's like a million matches.
But you also have, it's faster paced, but you also have clean finishes because it's not going to kill anybody's career because it's not going on TV. Because this is Coliseum home video, that's why there's draws. That's why there's countouts, because it is going to be seen by more than the people in the building. So that's why I think this falls a little short. If it was just a video of especially put it out now. Like, why not put, like, I don't know how well it would do, but put out, obviously it would be digital now. It wouldn't be whatever. But put out like a Coliseum home video series where you show Hogan get beat by Piper in the middle of nowhere because it's not going to hurt him now. You know what I mean? Because people would be stunned.
The closest thing they did, TW, before the WWE Network was the Madison Square Garden shows. Actually, WWE On Demand on cable. I used to subscribe to that. They did the Madison Square Garden shows. They did the Boston shows and all that stuff. Go ahead,
Professor. You're talking about like WWE 24 or whatever.
Yeah, 24/7.
But even I never had that. But even previous to that, Professor, with us in New York, if you had the MSG channel, I remember in the early '90s, early to mid '90s, it was called like WWF on MSG Network or something, and it would be an hour of house shows. Like at MSG, it was on the MSG channel, and
they did the best of MSG house shows in the '90s, and then they killed that. But again,
and then primetime wrestling would like go live to a house show that was happening. I don't know if it was really live, but they were like, "Let's go to the Garden," and they would show you a match. Like I remember as a kid thinking, "Wow, this is happening right now in Boston," but it was probably recorded. But that's how they presented it.
Actually, I have in my notes here the Hercules Akeem match. And the Rockers versus Dino Bravo and Valentine. Both of those were on Primetime Wrestling. They were on Superstars as dark matches as well, but they were on Primetime Wrestling as well. Everything else was MSG house shows.
All right. With that being said, Reflectionites, we're going to talk about a couple of these matches here and there. We're not going to talk about everything because, again, it was a 2-hour tape, and TW was falling asleep.
208.
It was 208, yes.
And
True.
All I know is that TW was snoring through the first hour and all that stuff because, he works like 24/7. The gay porn industry really needs him a lot. But anyway, let's get into the opening match. It was actually on Saturday night's main event, so I kind of remember this one. It was Hacksaw Jim Duggan trying to get revenge on the newly crowned king of wrestling, the Macho King. Ooh, yeah, dig it. Randy Savage being managed by sensational Queen Sherry. And guys, we already saw that was on Saturday night's main event. That banner was right there. But this is a great starter for Super Tape Volume 2. This is because, again, everybody knows. If you watch Saturday night's main event, you'd be like, "Oh, okay, this was a banger match." I don't want to use that word, loosely, but this was a banger match to start for Super Tape Volume 2. It's a 5-star classic and all that stuff. This had story. You already knew it had purpose. Thank you for the ding, iPhone. But it had purpose. You already say what?
That ain't me.
That's JB.
That one was me.
I know
there was 5 of them.
But anyway, neither here nor there. But guys, I'll start with JB first because, again, Macho King Randy Savage and Hacksaw Jim Duggan had a great feud. Had a great program in 1989, all for the crown. I'm not going to say that this was the best match out of the feud and all that stuff. But again, you got to start something with Super Tape Volume 2. So, JB, what did you like about this match? What memories you had about this feud per se?
Yeah, I definitely remember this feud. Nice way to start it. I thought it was a good match, especially outside of Hogan. Savage is easily the biggest name on this card at this time outside of Hogan. And, decent match. Randy Savage looked like $1 million. Just his physique and everything was great. The thing that I really took note of that I wanted to talk to you guys about and ask you guys about, because we've seen Macho King and Duggan, we've seen them wrestle a million times. We've seen it at Saturday night's main event. What caught my eye is when I watch these things, I always kind of look around the ring and see whatever I can see. I noticed. Do you guys remember Mike McGurk?
Yep.
She was the announcer for this. So I just want to talk to her a little bit. For those who don't know, she was the first female commentator, and she was also the first female announcer. And she used to produce promos backstage as well. And she was married to one of the Killer Bees, Brian Blair. But I just wanted that's all I have to say. Yeah, they're divorced.
She got sexually harassed, didn't she?
The rumor. That was a referee.
Well, there was a rumor. The reason she left was because of advances from Vince, but she later refuted that, and she said she couldn't keep up with the traveling anymore. And she said, actually,
the black announcer, that guy was an older black guy. He got accused of some shit too.
The pedophile, ref?
There is one true, there is one. He was for real a pedophile though, for real. I forget what his name is.
Some with the Ring Boys.
Yeah. But that's all I'd say with Mike McGurk. I remember her. She's back in that nostalgia. The first thing I was what? Yeah, and she used to wear those suits.
Virgil suit.
Yeah.
Virgil suit on. I think Virgil borrowed it from her the first time he wore the suit.
And her name was it was the first time I ever saw a woman named Mike. So that was also stuck out to me. But yeah, what do you guys got?
Go ahead.
I got a question. Did Macho Man win a King of the Ring, or did he win the crown from Duggan, who won it from Harley?
He won a King of the Ring.
No, won the crown from Duggan, but he won the Wrestling Classic, which was the King of the Ring first.
So Junkyard Dog should be a King of the Ring in the damn annals of history. He should be, because he won the first one.
Mm-hmm.
No,
but he won a house show King of the Ring. He won a house show King of the Ring.
Who? Junkyard Dog?
No, Macho Man.
Oh. So, but he did win the crown. Duggan won it from Haku, because he gave it to Harley gave it to Haku. So that's my favorite thing about this, is after he wins, because they do the Rick Rude Warrior finish, after he wins, Mike McGirt goes, winner, and still king of the WWE. And it made me laugh, because this is smack dab in the middle of a time where when we make fun of everyone for having too many belts, we're like, the WWE has always had 2 singles belts and a tag belt. But bullshit. They've had that King of the Ring, and they defended that shit. Not forever, but they did. It
was never highlighted, though.
Huh?
Never highlighted, really.
You gotta remember.
It's like what's that thing in NXT they got now? The cup, the Heritage
Cup. But you gotta remember too, there was a little bit of a tiff within the wrestling community, because again, a lot of people like the NWA having like the television championship, the U.S. championship, the Western State Heritage Championship, the U.S. Tag Team Champion. There was titles for everybody. It wasn't too much. It was just right. And WWE just felt like it was just too little. Just 3 belts, and that was it. And then you felt like all these matches had no purpose, no value, and no reasoning. So when you had something to fight for, like Macho Man and Hacksaw Jim Duggan did, guys, for the kingdom, if you will, Reflectionites, at least it gave something. Gave some value.
They had the body slam challenges for $10,000 more than once, because of Slam Andre or Slam Stud or whatever.
Well, those are gimmick matches.
But that's what he's saying, is what it does is, if you have a big roster and 2 guys are fighting for the world title and 2 guys are fighting for the IC and 4 guys are fighting for the tag, everyone else is lost in the shuffle, is what they would always say, right? And the reason they didn't say it about the NWA is because some guy was the TV champion and had that group of people, and they were tiers. It was upper, mid, and lower card guys, but when they had a belt to it, it makes them feel more than openers, crowd opener. They also
they feel more appreciated. But let's put a ball on this, because again, one of the, I'm not saying pet peeves of Macho Man is that he is a perfectionist. Whoever he fights, they must know what Macho Man is going to do in that ring, and Macho Man must know what they're going to do in that ring, because they got a bullet point. There's like 175 bullet points for a Macho Man Randy Savage match. And Hacksaw Jim Duggan, who is a brawler, a bruiser, followed it to a T. And this was one of Hacksaw Jim Duggan's best matches. Maybe the program of Macho Man was one of his best working programs, if you will. So JB, put a ball on it. Agree, disagree, have a different take, and then TW takes that one.
No, man, short and sweet. I agree with you. It's probably his best promo. I enjoyed. I think this was his best promo. He had a small promo with Hercules as well, but I think this was for sure his best promo.
TW,
who's best?
I just said it's program, not promo, but
program. Sorry, I didn't mean that. Program.
Can you think if you were told to pick, and I'm talking WWE, I'm not talking fucking NWO, fucking 400 members. WWF. Macho Man, before he becomes a commentator and comes out, because it would be Crush would be the answer. But can you think of a bad program that Macho Man had ever before?
Before Shawn Michaels, he was Mr. WrestleMania, point blank.
Right, and he made Duggan look good, and not that he needed it, but he made Dusty look good. Anybody he feuded with, it was him with Honky Tonk, him with Hogan, him. It don't matter who he feuded with. Tito, Steamboat.
He made Warrior look like $1 million at WrestleMania 7.
Warrior, fuck! How did I not start with Warrior? Yeah, there's not a bad time. The only thing I want to give him flack for, and I realized it watching this fucking tape before I fell asleep 8 minutes in, 12 minutes, 18 minutes in. This guy, this motherfucker, is to blame for the shit that fucking Seth Rollins wears to fucking wrestling rings, because I don't know what the fuck he had like a girl's fucking pre-gym workout outfit on, complete with armbands, and took them all off to fucking have a Slim Jim.
90s brothers.
It's flashy. He differentiates himself. It's
terrible.
okay.
I'm pretty sure I've seen Seth Rollins wear this outfit that he's wearing. Because at first I thought he was going to wrestle in it. And I'm like, what the fuck? Is he wrestling in a nightgown? What the fuck is that? And then he takes it all off. I'm like, there it is. There's the Slim Jim Macho Man. But I was like, that's it. That's the moment. Seth Rollins is, which we all think he's trying to be Macho Man, aren't we? Don't we all think that?
I never got that vibe, actually. I didn't thought about it.
The way he talks, it's not, oh yeah, but he's like, he tries to be over the top fucking supervillain, and it's time for Seth Rollins to take a vacation. When I read on the papers today, the sheets, if I read today that Becky Lynch has not been on TV for a year, but yet she's coming, how the fuck is Seth Rollins on my TV every goddamn week? I don't even never say goddamn. That's how mad I am. I don't hate the guy. One of my buddies trained him, but dude, please stop dressing like an asshole. It's horrible. He looks like Hank for.
You better stop before his dad comes after you.
Who's his dad?
Al Perez.
Hold on.
Al Perez.
That's his dad?
No, but they look like
Al Perez is my number one untapped potential.
So they look like twins.
Brad Armstrong.
All right.
The Latin lover.
We're gonna raise Professor's blood pressure.
It's falling off the rails, Reflectionites. I gotta bring it back. I gotta reel them back in before TW goes on a harangue about no knee pads next. But anyway, let's get on.
I gotta bring that up now.
I haven't heard that in a long time.
No knee pad wearing ass.
I'm just saying. Can I get on with the show, TW?
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Let JB run the show. You quit.
No, let him do his thing. We got to talk about the Rock and Pirate Pain and Hillbilly Jim and commentating.
That's my favorite thing of this whole thing because I never even knew it happened.
And the beauty of this, we'll combine the Rockers because they had two matches. So you could say it's a personality profile, if you will, Reflectionize. They wanted to focus on the Rockers. Maybe they would. You thought when you saw this on Superstars or the SuperTape Volume 2, guys, that with a Rockers personality profile, two matches in this, that in maybe 6 months from then, they were going to become WWE Tag Team Champions, and it just never panned out for some strange reason and all that stuff. But, the rope broke. But again, you just saw that if you're going to do a personality profile of the Rockers, you get two matches on a Coliseum home videotape. You was expecting something to happen on live TV. It just didn't happen that way. But with the Rockers, they got two matches out of this one. One from Madison Square Garden, you could tell from there, against the Powers of Pain, and then one looks like a wrestling challenge match between them against Dino Bravo and Greg the Hammer Valentine. So I'm going to go to TW, talk about the Rockers. Of course, you love Shawn Michaels and you love Marty Jannetty because you wanted to be like them. TW said he wanted to do that.
Hey, man, I took a super kick from Marty Jannetty. I lost a title to him. He owes me. I still need to fucking return favors. But I like that they did it. The only thing is, until Ronnie Garvin came and saved the day, I'm like, why did they do all this for him? It looked like a burial. It was like the self-destruction of the Rockers or something. They lose to the Powers of Pain. Then they lose to fucking Valentine and Bravo.
Well, they didn't lose.
They lost. Marty got pinned in that one. Sean got pinned in the other one. But because Fuji interfered. And at the time, you understand why the Rockers...
They reversed the decision, though.
That's why I said when Ronnie Garvin came to the rescue. But it still makes them look like bitches that they got to have the substitute teacher come fucking reverse the decision. I would have preferred.
TW. You got to remember, for the Ronnie Garvin, there was a program between Ronnie Garvin and Greg.
Dino Bravo. You're right.
So they were just fillers for Ronnie Garvin.
And I believe Garvin was a referee because he lost a match to Valentine.
I wanted to ask you guys. I never remember Ronnie Garvin as a referee. It was just like a short, just for the program or what?
He had the shin guard to block
the
score, but he ended up losing a match that was a retirement match or something, and he became a referee. But it was kind of like the normal shit, and he just constantly fucked over Valentine until Valentine agreed to let him unretire.
What was the name of the shin guard? He had a name for it. Do you guys remember? I forget.
Fuck. The something blaster or something. I remember. I can't remember exactly, but and he wore it.
Could have been the leg blaster or the shin blaster or something like that.
Something like that.
Yeah.
JB, thoughts about this?
Hammer blaster.
Something like that. But yeah, the only things that stuck out to me, kind of TW said the same thing. It was a highlight on the Rockers, but don't get me wrong, they looked good in both matches in terms of what they were doing, their normal stuff. But the finishes were terrible. I mean, they lost to Powers of Pain, and that was actually they redid that finish from Survivor Series when Powers of Pain defeated Conquistadors. I forgot what year Survivor Series that was. And then what's that?
88.
88. And then that's when they had the double turn. Demolition turned face, and they turned heel. But anyway, and then of course, like you said, it looked like bitches against Bravo and Valentine. Only thing I want to kind of ask you guys on this was, I don't know about you guys, but I always liked the Powers of Pain. I liked their look, and they were like bruisers. And I was just doing some research for this and just seeing they were only together for like not even 2 years as Powers of Pain. And I saw a shoot video with Barbarian.
Two in WWE or two total, because they were in WCW first.
No, two total, because they did some NWA stuff prior to WWE as well.
They formed to attack the Road Warriors during a workout session. Paul Jones, was it, Professor?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then they immediately when the Road Warriors wouldn't come, they signed them instead.
Yeah, and they came in because they were coming in to avenge Demolition beating Strikeforce. So they were like the new good guys coming to town or whatever.
Right. Yeah.
But according to what Barbarian said in the shoot video, and he said he heard it off of hearsay, so he doesn't even know if it's true or not. But apparently, when LOD decided LOD to come on over, they agreed to come over. But LOD said they'll only come over if Powers of Pain break up, because it said the gimmick was too similar, and they wanted to go separate. So as the storyline went, Mr. Fuji sold Barbarian's contract to Bobby Heenan and sold Warlord's contract to Slick. But I just wanted to ask you, do you guys think they could have all worked together? Because they did it in NWA. They feuded against each other. Do you think they could have did it here? Or not NWA, Jim Crockett or whatever. Do you think it could have worked in WWE, or were they too closely alike?
No, I think that makes perfect sense. And it probably wasn't personal, because they were probably friends. The only reason the Powers of Pain got signed by WWE is because they couldn't get like all the shit people talk about Demolition. Demolition is not a Road Warrior. They might be inspired by Road Warriors, but nothing about them is Road Warrior. The way they work, the way they got face paint. That's the common in black. But they're so much better than people give them credit for. Demolition. Powers of Pain. It's funny because if you go back and watch them, they're not that good as a tag team, right? Like the Rockers make them look good in this match. Demolition made them look good in their matches. The Conquistadors made them look good. The Road Warriors made them look good in NWA. So I bet you they welcomed not being a team anymore. And it's funny because we talk about them here now to this day. I never would have thought they were only together 2 years. So it's a testament to them that they made it work for 2 years, because they were just too big. You know what they remind me of in hindsight? Kevin Nash and that other guy when they were the Master Blasters. They were just two guys that got put together to look like the Road Warriors, to try to recapture lightning in a bottle, because the Road Warriors they're fucking once in a they are the tag team Hulk Hogan. It was immediate. When people saw them, they loved them or were afraid of them immediately, and no matter where they went, they got the Road Warrior pop. They call it the Road Warrior pop for a reason. There'll never be another Road Warriors. And
absolutely, you're right. Again, just like the question is, you couldn't afford the Road Warriors in '88, but you could afford the Road Warriors in 1990. So that was basically the precedent right there. And Powers of Pain were more of the Road Warrior ripoffs than Demolition ever was, because they were more fluid and they had a different look to it. So again, it is what it is.
Yeah, and they had the mohawk and the reverse mohawk.
Timu Road Warriors, they were.
Yeah.
Sheen. And I'm going to send you guys to Sheen to feed my dog.
And speaking of tag team guys, there was another, you could say, a tag team profile, and not just the Rockers got 2 matches out of this super tape. We got the untapped potential of the Orient Express, Sato and Tanaka. They got 2 matches off the super tape. Saito, I'm sorry. No,
it's Sato.
No, it's Sato, not Saito.
Yeah, Saito. Mr. Saito is somebody else.
Yeah, Saito was the AWA guy with Fuji and stuff like that. But neither here nor there. But untapped potential when it was Sato and Tanaka with Mr. Fuji and all that stuff. So JB, you don't have to talk about the matches, but again, your memories, your fondest memories of the Orient Express, especially with that racist theme music that they came out to.
My greatest memories with Orient Express actually is Royal Rumble 91 and 92, because both. Yes, man, they put on some phenomenal matches with the Rockers, both in 91 and.
Was that Paul Diamond though?
No, sorry, 92. I'm lying. 92 wasn't the Rockers. 92 was Neidhart and Owen. against the Orient Express. I believe 90 and 91 were the Rockers.
Yeah.
But for those 3 years, they had some really good matches.
What were you doing watching it? That's way after 85.
I said 84 to 95. No, but that's probably my best memory of Orient Express. Don't really have much else to say about them, really.
Who came first? Tanaka and Sato or Tanaka and Paul Diamond?
Paul Diamond was after
first.
Because they were bad company. It was Paul Diamond and Tanaka.
Paul Diamond was Kato, and he was masked.
He came after. So Sato left and Paul Diamond took his place. Mm-hmm. That's Neidhart.
By the way, I don't know if you know this. I don't know if you know this, TW. I'm sure Professor does because he's the professor. But do you remember Hakushi?
Yeah.
His manager was Sato.
Oh,
his name was Shinji, but he just had the the whatever on.
Did not know that.
Yeah. But nothing else. The only other thing I could say about this Orient Express thing on Super Tape 2 was, what in the world was that atrocious segment with Lord Alfred Hayes breaking out? This is a forearm. Like, what the hell was that?
And it was the only match with jobbers too. It was the one. But that's,
so I actually looked it up because I wanted to know who Jim Power's partner was. And it's everything I found. I went to Cage Match, and for those who don't know Cage Match, you could see like matches that happened. So his partner, they say his name is Jim McPherson for that event. But if you look up every single picture of Jim McPherson, it's a Jack Black guy. So, and that definitely was not a Jack Black guy. So I don't understand.
You went above and beyond for no reason at all. It wasn't Paul Roma. That's all you had to know.
I got a question for
you. No, you're right.
If the Powers of Pain are heels wrestling the Rockers, then this happened after Survivor Series, where the Young Stallions were on the fucking Survivor Series team. Why is Jim Powers a jobber again with that guy?
No, this is not 88 though.
This is 89.
This is an older match.
No, this is 89.
It's 89, correct?
When they broke up.
And the Young Stallions were together in 88.
Right.
So the Young Stallions are already done. The Young Stars are done by now.
Why? Because he's with Paul Roma's with Hercules? No, because Hercules is wrestling Akeem.
Okay, hold up. TW, the aneurysm is creeping up. I'm going to explain this, TW. They broke up in 89. There was no storyline. Paul Roma just said, fuck it. Fuck Jim Powers. Fuck everything. I want to shoot again. That was it.
Oh, no shit. Where's that shoot interview?
Even Paul Roma was like, I can't do this. I'm going to be stuck in this Young Stallions bubble, and I don't want that. He didn't like where the direction of the Young Stallions, and he just said, you know what? I want to do my own thing. And Jim Powers, of course, both butted heads. They wanted to do their own things. They thought they were bigger shit and all that stuff. Then Paul Roma got lucky. He got lucky with the power and glory of him and Hercules in late 1990. Okay?
Yeah. Power and glory. More like sour and gory. That was the WrestleMania 7 promo for LOD. Continue.
And I guess you could say the untapped match of the night, JB kind of said it a little bit, was the match he didn't expect to see. Bret the Hitman Hart in one of those solo engagements.
Wait, what about Hakeem and Hercules?
No, we ain't talking about that. That's nothing. That's nothing. I don't care. Can
I just make one comment on that?
Okay. Make it 30 seconds and we're going to move on.
So I don't want to talk. I don't give a shit about the match, except the only thing I could think to myself is who in their right mind would say they want to see Hercules versus Akeem. So listen,
work is who?
They showed the postcard, right? And this is JB doing this for the Reflectionites. I decided to Google this person, Laura. I forget the last name now. I couldn't find anybody within that age group. So
Laura
I said,
Ingram.
No, the Ingram angle. No, but I also decided to Google the address. The address does not exist.
That's why I said it's a work, dude.
So it's definitely a work, but I was just curious to see. Also, the first thing I thought in my head is, how could WWE show someone's address on national TV? Right. But in reality, obviously, it's a work.
Well, when you're 10 years old, you think it's real.
And I like Hercules promo. I liked Hercules promo. Like, we don't give it enough credit. Back then, everybody could really give a promo, except for Rick Martel and the AWA. But nobody went out there and looked like Ricochet. Even the Rockers looked nervous as fuck and looked like they were just spitting out.
Shawn Michaels sounded high as fuck.
Okay. Hold
Shawn
on.
Michaels.
You're giving a Hercules promo in 1989 way too much credit. I'm sorry.
It was more than I expected from him, is what I'm saying. Go ahead. I got my favorite part of the Bret Martel match. So you two go ahead and talk about it, and then when you turn it over to me,
I'm done with Akeem and
15 seconds are left.
I'm done with Akeem and Hercules. The only thing is, every time Hercules would cut a promo, I always felt like he was gonna have a brain aneurysm because the amount of steroids that dude was on was ridiculous. He was probably taking that shit anally. Is the amount of steroids this dude was on?
That's Professor's favorite way to take it.
The fascination with these dudes and anal is just astounding. Reflection. But anyway, we're gonna move on to the untapped match of the night, and that's Bret the Hitman Hart against the model Rick Martel. Again, this is another Madison Square Garden classic. Reflectionites. And again, JB, you said you didn't think that you would ever see this match, but again, this is what the Super Tape is all about. This is what Coliseum Home Video is all about. This is what primetime wrestling is all about. The house show matches you never thought you would be able to see and all that stuff. So, the hell is that?
Fucking ICE is coming to get one of you guys.
I got
this is the brown guy, of course.
I got my cards. But anyway,
People think I'm Middle Eastern every day of my life when I'm working my job, so they might be coming for me.
Neither here nor there. But JB, what astounds you about this match? Again, this is one of those classics that you never thought you ever would see. But again, this is one of those times that, we knew in hindsight that Vince McMahon is looking at Bret Hart and saying, you know what? Do you got that? Do you got it? You got that it factor? Can I separate you and Jim the Anvil Neidhart? Can I separate you from the Hart Foundation and that legacy to see if you got what it takes to be a main event star? And of course, we don't have to go into that. The legacy is there, but that's hindsight. But this is 1989, guys. This is a proving grounds match for Bret Hart because Rick Martel is already a made man because former AWA World Heavyweight Champion. The worst AWA promos were Rick Martel. Me and TW went through that. We saw that and all that stuff. JB, the floor is yours about this match.
Yeah, I mean, Bret Hart they're looking at Bret to become a singles guy. And what is this, 89? He's 2 years away from being a singles wrestler. He's less than 3 years away from being the freaking champ of the world in 92. So, the match was, again, like I said, it was okay. It wasn't the greatest thing, but I enjoyed seeing it because I'd never seen these two before. And the crowd, I feel, was really hot for this match because at the end, when they called it a time limit draw, they went apeshit crazy because they wanted Bret to win. But, I thought it was a decent match.
But that's the 80s, baby. I mean, everybody was pissed when you heard a 15 or 20-minute draw, and then you...
Kissing your sister.
Because the WWE never announces time limits. They never say you got 30 seconds left. So once you hear that bell ring, you kind of feel cheated. That was one of the things I hated about the WWE, but that's just me.
Well, what immediately came to mind, because I didn't know the finish. I'd never seen this match. I remember, if I'm not mistaken, I think Gorilla Monsoon was on commentary with this. And I remember him making the comment like, oh, these two guys could fight all night. And then to see a time limit draw, I'm like, what the heck? Like, why not? I think they should have just gave Bret Hart the count out win, like have him just sneak in right at the last minute. But I get it. This is right. Like, if I'm not mistaken, Martel had just gone solo, right?
JP, we don't have to overthink this. This is like TW said. This is a house show. This is just meant for
just
the
testing ground.
This is a testing ground.
This was more to see how the crowd liked Bret. More
right, 100%. But also, Martel was a brand new. He was not even a year yet into his heeldom, right? He had just turned.
He just started the model gimmick.
The model gimmick, yeah.
TW, go ahead. Put a bow on this.
Yeah, it's new because he doesn't have the slick back hair. He's still got the big poodle part.
Or the arrogance.
Yeah. But what I like about it is it's your schmoz finish. Again, if this was a house show, Bret wins by a count out. But because it's for Coliseum Home Video, they're protecting Martel by having it be a draw. But what's awesome is, what does Bret Hart always get credit for? The excellence of execution. They say he's cerebral. He's smart, right? He gives the fucking atomic drop to Martel and then immediately slides in the ring and the bell rings and he celebrates, which immediately made me think, this is Lex Luger in the Palace of Auburn Hills in 1993, right? It's like, what are you doing, Bret? You don't celebrate a count-out win. But then they go, it was a time limit draw. And then Bret's like, what do you mean? I got in the ring. And then he looks stupid because he doesn't know time limit draw and count out aren't the same thing. And then Martel hits him. And it seemed like every match on here, the babyface loses by chicanery and then beats up the guy that caused him to lose, or vice versa. The babyface gets beat up by the heel who loses. But this is there's two finishes that I love. This is one of them because it leaves you wanting more, right? And that's what they always told you. Go out there and give them just enough that they want to see more, not more than that, because then nobody cares. The other was the cage match. Piper and Rude did the safe version of Hogan Orndorff. They did the safe version of Lex Brett Royal Rumble, right? They just looked at each other and go, now, like they were Sid, and jumped to the floor at the same time. And they restarted the match. This is what I think they should have done with the Rockers and Valentine and Bravo. It shouldn't have been reversed. It should have been restarted, and then the Rockers win with the double fist drop. Even if Garvin Potato's one of them to get the win, then the Rockers at least look like they won. So this right here, it sets it up. I was there for the house show tours where a heel Luger and a heel Razor Ramon would attack Bret Hart, and Bret would get out of the ring like he outsmarted them, and then Lex and Razor would do a yay boo, and a month later, both of them turned good guy. That's why they do this stuff. So I liked it, and again, I think because it's Coliseum home video, it ended in the draw. It would have been Bret winning by countout if it was a regular house show.
Non-televised or non-taped.
Non-recorded.
Yeah, non-recorded. But again,
Heartbreaker, by the way, is the name of the shin guard.
Oh, okay. But it was for MSG network purposes, so this is one of those protected draws like TW is saying right now. And while the construction is going on in JB's house, we got the double main events going on.
Those are the pops. That's the shit falling out.
Either or TW, but anyway, neither here nor there. But we got the double main event of SuperTape Volume 2. What is it? 2 times going on in your house, JB?
You don't know? That's not in your house?
No. Really?
Then somebody's boiler is that a boiler?
Fourth person?
Is what?
Ghost.
By the way, I do want to mention one thing about the Rude Piper match. Because again,
we're gonna talk about. I'm just trying.
Oh,
to
sorry. Okay,
right
go
we got the double main event going. We got the steel cage match, Reflectionites, between Roddy Piper and Rick Rude, and this was the hot feud going into Survivor Series because again, from SummerSlam '89 when Piper mooned ravishing Rick Rude and Rude lost the title to the Warrior, and again. We go into this until Survivor Series. So this was the 89 feud. You could say the fall to winter feud of 1989, guys. So, JB, the floor is yours. I guess you could say the steel cage is the payoff, the ultimate of the payoff. The blow-off, if you will, JB. So what say you about this match?
Yeah, I thought it was a good match. We got some color from Rick Rude. Crowd went absolutely bonkers when Piper won. But I looked this up on Cage Match. So I was just curious because I've never seen these two fight in a one-on-one match either. And apparently they wrestled like 1,000,000 times on the house shows. And Piper pretty much won. Or there was some sort of schmoz finish in majority of them. But they did have a couple steel cage matches, and Piper did win. I think they had 2 or 3, and Piper won all of them. But the most interesting I found out, and it has nothing to do really with this match. But Roddy, because I was looking at the cage matches.
That they're both dead?
No, Roddy Piper fought the Orient Express with a tag team partner in 1990. His partner was shocking to me. I have a feeling Professor might know who it is. But TW, no. Do you know Professor?
That he fought the Orient Express?
This guy that I'm talking about is his last match ever in WWE.
Bruno.
In the ring. No.
In 1990?
1990, which was shocking to me.
Well, it's kind of because again, what you would call it? Because his last match, you could say on TV purposes, was like WrestleMania 6.
No, it wasn't Roddy Piper's last match. It was this gentleman's last match that I'm talking about. Period.
No, but Roddy Piper's last televised match I remember was WrestleMania 6. I don't remember because
he's saying his partner's last match was this.
Correct.
Who is it?
Piper's partner against the Orient Express. It was
correct.
His last. Don Morocco.
Correct. No, Professor, I guess.
No, go ahead. I don't know everything.
It was Jesse Ventura.
Oh, no kidding.
I was so shocked to see him wrestle. Yeah, that was his last match in WWE, like ever. But I couldn't believe that he was wrestling in 1990. It was only a one-off match. Someone must have. I don't know what happened. I'm gonna go back and look up the history how that happened. How he was wrestling, and also
he went to WCW after that to do commentating.
Not yet. He didn't go until 92.
Oh wow, that was.
He went in 92.
Mm-hmm.
I fucking thought he was there in 89. I thought he was there for the fucking Terry Funk.
For Royal Rumble 92 then?
Where
was he for Royal Rumble 92?
Who, Jesse?
Yeah.
He was governing Minnesota, a small town in Minnesota.
In '92?
Oh, he left and then didn't come back to wrestling until after the governing.
Okay, got it.
No,
He was a mayor of some town in Minnesota. I forget what, but 90 to 92 he was doing the mayor thing in a small town. He was building up his political street cred, if you will. TW, any closing thoughts about this steel cage match?
My first of all, they even said it that they threw the NWA rule in there that it could be pin or submission, which they didn't do. Piper wins by pointing at the door and almost mocking Hogan. I felt like because Hogan always had to walk out the gate or go over the top of it, like that was a bigger defeat than just pinning him for 3 seconds. But I love, first of all, Rude. Fuck, I still can't believe he hung himself by his feet over the top, still holding his hands, because if he had sweaty hands and his hand slipped, it's Donkey Kong City and the end of Rick Rude, because he would have fell head first down.
Well, remember, and again, TW will say I'm gay about this, but every woman remembers a Rick Rude match in WWE because they saw his ass. That's was one of the
other part. He never pulls his tights up. So one of the things Scott D'Amore and Mickey Doyle told me 150 million times when I was training to wrestle, not necessarily me, but the class, was when you take a bump, you do not fix your fucking gear. Like if your gear's fucked up, it stays fucked up until you're on top and you can fix it. Because if you take a bump and you're selling and then you fix your underwear, the girls do it all the fucking time, right? For obvious reasons. Jada Parker just had her beaver hanging out, pop titties. So yeah, in some cases you got no choice. But like, I don't know if I ever told you guys my favorite thing. Me and Rico wrestled each other our first 11 matches. You know when you get in a headlock and then the guy in the headlock rolls him over for a quick 2 count, then you roll back over? Mm-hmm. Every time I did that, I pulled his tights a little tighter. And finally on the 3rd time, he yells at me, he goes, "You motherfucker, I felt the wind on my asshole," because I completely pulled his tights to where one whole half of him was not in his tights. But Rick Rude he just wrestled. They had to bleep it out because he left his pants down the rest of the fucking match. Never fixed them. That's dedication.
He's a trooper.
And again, that's a house show thing. If it's a pay-per-view, if it's TV, he's probably pulling them up.
Well, he has no choice but on a pay-per-view to pull up.
Right.
And with that being said, the main event of SuperTape Volume 2 was you could say the Mega Maniacs of Hulk Hogan and Brutus the Barber Beefcake against Lanny Poffo, the Genius, and Mr. Perfect. And you know what? When you look at this, again, we know that, that feud of Saturday Night's main event, we remember that Mr. Perfect, took the sledgehammer onto Hulk Hogan's belt and all that stuff. So they were going to probably build that program for the house shows with Hogan and Perfect. But this is a great gimmick match with the tag team. You implement Mr. The Genius, Lanny Poffo, and you implement Brutus the Barber Beefcake and all that stuff. And like I said, like on our What If TW, Brutus Beefcake in '89 being Hulk Hogan's buddy, this is the politicking. He was destined to be the Intercontinental Champion and all that stuff. This is Exhibit A right now. So with that being said, TW, the floor is yours with this main event here. Again, we always say that Hulk Hogan's the ultimate heel, but people cheered those years. But again, he just does what he does and all that stuff. So let's say, and this was Madison Square Garden again. Madison Square Garden is the favorite place for all the cameras for all these house shows and stuff like that. So, TW, what say you?
Perfect. Never looked better. This dude was so gassed up there, but like cut, shredded, ripped. Rude obviously was. Piper was jacked up. We didn't mention that. He was on the gas. Beefcake looked the best I'd ever seen him. But my thing is, my only memories of Hogan and Beefcake being together are the night where Hogan beat Yokozuna after they lost to Money Inc. when they were, and weren't Beefcake and Hogan called the Hulkamaniacs?
No,
They weren't
Mega Maniacs.
Because I thought Warrior and Hogan were called the Mega Power, or no, Mega Powers was Macho Man and Hogan.
Yeah.
Then I thought the Mega Maniacs were Hogan and Warrior.
No,
because they kept saying Beefcake was Hulk Hogan's #1 fan the whole time. But I do, and
what was Savage and Warrior? Weren't they the Mega Maniacs too?
They were the Ultimate Maniacs.
Okay.
But the Beefcake coming out with the Hogan shirt and the yellow tight, like they looked good together. If they looked like this, I would have took them more serious. But by the time they did that tag match, that was after Beefcake's accident where he just looked different, right? So, but this is my other problem with this tape. everybody bitches about the 5-minute matches on TV. Well, this motherfucking match felt like it was 45 minutes, and there's no need for it, right? There was 17 fucking false tags that Hogan kept getting thrown out of there. And then the hot tag that they finally made is so weak. You're like, how do you do 9,000 phony hot tags? And then they finally get one, and it's just bad. But Hogan just heel. Again, perfect beefcake. Powerful Hogan. This is a good match. It's just way longer than it needs to be, and way too many false tags.
Well, remember, this is the match before you get into the intermission break. This is the first match before all that stuff. Because then the Intercontinental title match, or maybe a tag team title match, would end the show at MSG and all that stuff.
Hogan can leave.
Take it home with us with this match.
No, all I was going to say was in regards to the time, the duration of the match. Remember, this is the one that everyone paid to come watch. It's Hogan. So he's always going to get a little bit extra time. But, I mean, it is what it is. Perfect looked good. Genius was genius. Just a normal match. I love Hogan at the end, though, throwing the referee outside the ring. And no one ever talked about all the heelish shit. Hogan used to eye gouge. He used to scrape the back. He used to use foreign weapons
all the time.
No, but others. We talk about it. You guys talk about it, sure. But it's never talked about, like, he was doing heel things before it was a heel thing. So, yeah, I mean, nothing else really to say about the tape.
We don't take credit talk about his heelish antics. Me and TW are carrying the torch that Bobby the Brain Heenan started first. Remember, Bobby the Brain Heenan.
Yes, he tried to tell us all these years.
He prophesized Hulk Hogan's heel turn, and it came true in 1996 and all that stuff. So, you know what?
I've been telling you guys years about that, man.
Absolutely.
One thing that was weird for me, I don't know if it is for you guys, when I think of the Winged Eagle, I do not think of Hulk Hogan. So seeing him wear it was just so weird for me. Like, I know
That's the first person I think about.
Huh?
He's the first person I think about when I think about it.
It's him and Brett. Brett, Shawn, Warrior, Savage. Hogan's just not. Hogan, to me, is that oblong belt with the American flag, Canadian flag, Japanese flag.
Oh, God, that thing was ugly.
Belt. Huh?
It was ugly.
I don't think so. You can buy that on the shop now, and if they ever put that shit on sale, you guys want to do a GoFundMe and get me that belt, I'd be happy for that one. That's the one he was wearing. He had that ugly-ass Iron Sheik belt. He had that fake WCW TV title belt, or NWA, and then he had the fucking big one. And then the Winged Eagle, I think, wasn't it the Andre fight? WrestleMania 3 is when they made that belt?
WrestleMania 4.
4. 4 is that's when fucking Macho Man won it.
Yeah. But that's where it started in 88. It started in 88. Hogan actually was the first to wear it on the main event and then lost it to Andre, and $1 Million Man was the second one to wear it around his waist. And Macho was third.
Just wrapping a bow.
I picture Brett when I picture that belt. Hogan looks weird in it to me.
Just wrapping a bow with my thoughts on Super Tape 2, because TW just said, like, GoFundMe. So I was just curious. I happened to Google if you wanted to buy Super Tape 2 on Amazon. What do you guys think the going pricing is right now for it?
$197 US.
Shit is crazy, bro. $120, $150. But
nailed it.
Huh? $120, $150. But alternatively, on eBay, it's like $20. Right. So I don't know why anyone will buy it on Amazon for.
Are you talking about
Amazon is also like eBay, right? Amazon and Walmart, you and me can sell on there. That's why I always click it to Prime. You want to look at Prime because Prime's going to be more reasonable.
You sure? Wait. Is it Super Tape Volume 2 or is it a collection of Coliseum?
No, it's Super Tape Volume 2 only. Okay. It's the original tape, so I get it. Like Coliseum Video and Nice Box and everything. But still, that's wild to me.
That is
toys.
Wild.
Toys are like that on there. You'll go look at an action figure that on eBay you can get for $9, and it'll be listed for $109. And the thing is, they don't charge you unless you sell it. So people throw the shit on there. Probably someone died and someone put their family member's collection on there just to see what they can get. But you don't get charged unless it sells. If you put it on eBay, you get charged for listing it, but you get to keep it up until it sells.
Makes sense.
I understand the upkeep of toys. I understand the upkeep of action figures, but with tapes, I want to play it. I want to watch what I want to. 100%. I can't keep it in the case. I can't keep it in my collection and not play it because I want to see it on my VCR. And that's just me. So with that being said, we close on episode 192. This was a JB special. I picked it just for him. And you know what? I'm going to grade him on this one. You know, on preparations, I'll give him a B+.
Fuck, that means we're yelling at UWF next week.
On execution, Reflectionites, I got to be fair here. I'm going to give it an incomplete because, you know, he was supposed to lead, but he didn't lead totally. I had to lead. I don't know why. I'm not the leader here. I'm not an oligarchy.
You're the glorious one.
I'm the Brutus. You're the Hogan
one.
Okay, well, you know,
he's the most unreliable one, so that's why you got to lead.
So with that being, I'll get for sucking up to the professor, JB gets an A+ on that. But anyway, next week, guys.
You just stab me.
No, I'm not gonna even give you it.
JB's gonna stab me. He's like, you come to fucking Hollywood, Florida. I'm coming for you.
You heard all that noise coming from his house? It's gonna happen. He's coming.
He's building me on a guest wing.
There you go. But anyway, next week, guys, it's time to go back to the movies and all that stuff. So I'm gonna have to try to find something on Tubi. Maybe it's a movie that stars Edge.
Tracy Lords.
Say what?
Tracy Lords special.
No, again, that's the OnlyFans. You got to build the OnlyFans PWR.
What about a Dolph Ziggler movie?
We did that one. We're not doing another one, man.
We did a Dolph Ziggler? Oh, yeah, yes. Where he was the cop.
Yeah.
How about Over the Top? Terry Funk is in there.
Have we done him? Oh, we did the Miz Christmas one.
Yeah, we did. I'll find a movie with
Die Hard with a Vengeance. You guys know Die Hard with a Vengeance has Ludwig Borg inside.
Roadhouse.
Again, I will find the movie and I'll find the wrestler. Maybe it might be Edge. Maybe it might be John Cena. Maybe it might be The Miz. We just don't know with all that stuff.
I will not watch the Highlander Endgame. Just don't even ask. I told that last time I saw Edge in person, I told him he owed me $5 for that movie.
Next week, the Highlander with Edge. Next week here on the PWR podcast. No, I'm just playing. So TW, give out those socials so we can get out of here.
I'll tell you what. Whenever Big Ray makes the thumbnail cover for this, he needs to hide Edge somewhere in it because we talked about him a lot today.
Yes.
Yeah. Anyway, Pro Wrestling Coalition Network sponsors us at PWC Network at Podbean.com. Also, HAMIN Media Group is at Podbean.com. HMG Channel Attitude.com. You can catch us on X at PW Reflection. You can catch Big Ray Hernandez all over social media at Big Ray Hernandez. You go to it, you type that in, he's on it, and every Wednesday he's live on YouTube with the Next Level podcast, which is about NXT. You can find me on X and Instagram at TommyWonder19, Snapchat #Wonder, Facebook.com/TommyWonder. Also, my other X and TikTok at TheTommyWonder. And you can find Big Vito and Noel at the Big Vito brand on TikTok. You don't stop.
JB, give out your socials.
I can be found on Twitter at the P1JB. That's at THEP1JB. You can always find me on Facebook as well, on the PWR and the HAMIN Media Group Facebook group.
And if this gets uploaded by A-Track Brown, this will be on the PWSO networks. And if not, you can find it on the Professor YouTube channel. Again, I'm not trying to monetize my shit. I just share it for the Reflectionites. And you know what? Baby Doll became a Reflectionite, so she probably is subscribed to the Professor's YouTube channel. So congratulations to that Jezebel, Baby Doll. But also follow my brothers in arms, Billy Ray Valentine and Obi-Wan, you know me. And of course, the king of the reactions, A-Track Brown at the #8, Terry C. Brown. Again, next week, we're going to go back to the movies. Maybe we'll do the Highlander with Edge. I don't know just yet, but we'll see. I might have to be convinced by TW not to do it, but I'll try to find something movie related with a wrestler involved. So with that being said, I'm the Professor. That's the prodigal one, the HVAC king of South Florida, JB, the prodigal one, JB, and of course the Detroit Rock City Universal Heavyweight Champion of the World, the Tommy Wonder, saying good night, and we'll see you next time here at the PWR podcast at the HAMIN Media Group at Podbean.com.
And it was called the Heartbreaker because he was Greg Valentine, just so you know.
Who the hell cares? But anyway,
peace. Peace.